This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The DRC Learning Net will start in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
This is K1DBC. The DRC will start in 1 minute. All stations please stand by while the repeaters are placed into net mode.
PL off.
Good evening. Hello and welcome. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is W0N. That's spelled phonetically Delta Oscar, Romeo Oscar November. I am net control for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net tonight. This is a directed net for the purpose of connecting amateurs seeking help or advice with Elmers willing to mentor. This net meets every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month, at 1930 hours on the W0TX repeaters with frequencies 145.490, link with 448.625. Both have a negative offset and a tone of 100. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? For recognition by net control, please use your call sign. Everyone is welcome. This is an on-air meeting for amateurs seeking help and Elmers giving their time to mentor. If you have any questions for the Learning Net and don't yet have your license or otherwise wish to contact the Learning Net, you may do so via email at drclearningnet@gmail.com. We're also streaming this on youtube.com/WEREGR8, and you can check in there if you're not licensed as well. We additionally have a mailing list, groups.io/g/ham learning net. This is K1DBC Net Control. We will begin by inviting Elmers only to check in. With or without traffic, all Elmers, please check in now.
Alpha 0, Juliet Kilo, AA0JK, Fred Narvada. Good evening.
All right, Net Control wishes to thank and acknowledge the following Elmer. AA0JK Fred, thank you for checking in as always. All other check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That would be the letter after the number in your call sign, the first letter after the number in your call sign. Please try to use, if you can, I2 phonetics as you check in and indicate if you have traffic or question for Elmers as you do. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo 0, Kilo Papa Sierra, K0 KPS, Cabin Lakewood.
W0TX
WD0CIB, Charles and Denver.
Kilo 6 Hotel, Juliet Victor, Tom Arvada, no traffic.
Whiskey 6 India, Whiskey India, Harold Arvada.
Whiskey Delta 6, Delta Oscar Kilo, Rich and Arvada, no traffic.
Kilo 9 Alpha Tango Kilo K9 ATK Bryan, Elbert County, no traffic.
Foxtrot 0 Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Brian, Wheat Ridge, no traffic.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We'll go ahead and... All right, Net Control would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. K0KPS Kevin, WD0CIV Charles, K6HJV Tom, W6IWI Harold, WD6DOK Rich. There was a Jerry in there, and I think there was a double there, and I didn't catch your call sign. Jerry, go ahead once more.
W0 Foxtrot Charlie, Jerry. Okay.
Perfect. W0 Foxtrot Charlie, Jerry. I got you checked in there. And then K9 ATK. Brian, thank you so much for checking in. And KF0 AWC, Brian, for checking in. Thank you as well.
W0N Dave in Lakewood, checking in.
All right, WG0N, Dave, got you checked in as well. All right, one more call. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, and you'd like to check in to the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Charlie Uniform Charlie, Andrew, Ranch.
All right, that time we had KF0CUC. Andrew, thank you for checking in. We'll go ahead and go with the whole alphabet. This is K1 DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. If your suffix begins with the letters A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, and you'd like to check in, please do so with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
Kilo Delta Zero Foxtrot Kilo India, Arvada, Colorado. No traffic, no questions. Over.
Kilo Echo Zero Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, Lakewood, no traffic.
Kilo 0 Yankee Echo Sierra, Cannon, Broomfield, no traffic.
Whiskey Bravo 2, Sierra Hotel Romeo, Stan in Denver, and I do have a question tonight.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
Okay, we'll hold up there for just a moment. All right, Net Control, I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. KD0FKI Lewis, thank you for checking in. Appreciate you doing that. KE0 S.t.e.m Jonathan, K0YES Ken, WB2 SHR Stan with traffic, and N0TRP Jim. Thank you all for checking in. All right. Additionally, again, as well, you can go to youtube.com/WEREGR8 to view my point of view. I'm sharing my video, my perspective as net control. You can view past nets and things like that. And if you don't have a license, you can check in on there as well. But at the moment, if you have any other check-ins at the moment, we'll take all check-ins to the net, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have a traffic net questions. Okay, there'll be a few more opportunities throughout the net to check in. Please feel free to come and chat online if you'd like. I believe the first person I see that had traffic, and if somebody else did and I missed it, I apologize, but I saw WB2 SHR Stan with traffic. Go ahead.
K1 DBC in the net. This is WB2 SHR. Good evening, everybody. My question is probably a simple one, but it is. I'm going to put up a 70-centimeter antenna, probably to do sideband work and maybe some satellite work. And for some reason, I got it in my head that, well, maybe I should consider using N connectors rather than UHF. And so I thought, well, let's study this. So I did, and I get very confusing answers about using N connectors on 70 centimeters. Above that, no problem, you should use them. Below that, probably not worth it. So I didn't know if there was a consensus on that, and if there's some simple way I could prove to myself that it's worth it or not. Back to net control. This is WB2 SHR.
W0TX repeater.
Okay, great question there. I think we may need to have some better clarification on what an end connector is versus a UHF connector. If you want to explain that a little bit, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the right one to explain it, but an N connector, they always say, is better for higher frequencies. It has constant impedance across it, and UHF connectors are a little bit more prone to, I guess, water damage if they're outside. Mine are not going to be outside, so that's not an issue for me. But yeah, when I look at the literature on this, I see very compelling arguments in both directions. That it's either absolutely you should use it, or don't bother. It's not worth it. And both sides will point to graphs of various things, and it's like, well, I'm not an electrical engineer, so I'm not sure if I really understand what they're talking about. That's kind of my 25-cent explanation. WB2 SHR.
Okay, I apologize. Maybe I was hearing you incorrectly. I think that was part of the problem. You're saying N as in November, not the word end as in ending. Is that correct?
That's right. N is in November.
Okay, I was mishearing you. I apologize about that. Let me check here real quick. So again, I'll throw it out to the net. An N-type connector versus UHF. If anybody has any information on that when it comes to 70 centimeter, go ahead. very quickly, I guess, looking at it here, UHF offers PL259. Let's see. Let me check here. 0.3 gigahertz. Yeah, let me check something here further.
Comment.
Okay, yeah, it looks like just the amount of spectrum that it can work up to, 0.3 gigahertz for UHF and 10 gigahertz for N-type. Fred, A0JK, go ahead.
AA0JK. Yeah, when you buy an antenna for 70 centimeters, you'll note that the coax usually has a PL259 on it. So for what you'll probably be doing as far as amateur radio, that will more than suffice. So I wouldn't get too carried away with worrying about the alternatives here. And also your PL259 is going to work with your most of your radios. AA0JK. Back to net control.
Sounds good. All right there, A0JK Fred. Just looking briefly at here, somebody did a comparison with a Roden Short signal generator using both types of connectors, and their summary was they've not been able to tell any difference among N pair and or N/N pair and or SO239 PL259 pair at 431, despite all the claims. This was India Zulu 2 uniform frank.net. But if you have any other follow-up on that, Stan, go ahead.
Thanks, Jerome. I like Fred's comment. I think one of the reasons I went in this direction, to add a little bit of background, is a long time ago I did 2-meter sideband. And the thing I learned from it was that in order to be successful, because I was very underpowered, you needed to be a perfectionist about everything. And so I got a very nice coax and all sorts of other things that I could do. And it did seem to help a little bit. So I didn't know if, as you go up in frequency, if things get a little bit more fussy. But that's easier for me. It's easier just to buy everything that way. The antenna I bought actually had them throw in an N connector, too, so I can go either way on it. I thought I might try some simple experiments on my own just to see. But it's a little harder on 70 centimeters. Let me buy a minute. When I've tested 2-meter antennas, it's a little bit easier to hear things, I guess, because I'll listen to weather stations and things like that. And on 440, there aren't really as many things to listen to other than what's going on the repeaters, I guess. But good. I appreciate all the info, and I'll turn it back to you, Jerome, with my thanks. KD1 DBC. This is WB2 SHR.
All right, sounds good. WB2SHR, this is K1DBC. Yeah, good points that Fred made there. Just mostly what you're going to get from the manufacturers is UHF for PL259, SO259 type connectors. So yeah, and it looks like just some experimentation with it. This other person is not seeing a greater difference really on the 70 centimeter band. So yeah, great information there. Good comments. All right, I'll throw it out, I guess, to the net. Anyone else have any other comments on that topic? Go ahead, please. Hold on. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. I don't see anyone else indicated they had traffic or questions for the net, but if anybody did state that they had traffic, or if you do have any other traffic or questions and I missed it, or if you are there any other further check-ins, please call now.
Kilo 0, Lima, Alpha, India, K0, LEI. Larry Lakewood checking in.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Foxtrot Quebec, Troy in Denver.
All right, I control like to welcome to KnowledgeFawn Checkins, K0 LAI Larry and KF0 AFQ Troy. Thank you both for checking in.
TRP with a question?
Yeah, N0TRP. Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. This is N0TRP. Just curious, Jerome, I just see on YouTube you got, looks like some kind of cat control on your machine in the lower left-hand corner there. And then I just have a question for everybody as to if you're using cat software with an FT991A, what do you use and do you like it? N0TRP back to net.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, great question. So I did bring it up on screen. This is the newest client. This is RC Forbe. It's put on by remotehams.com. It's a free cat. This is a remote control software, so I could technically do audio through this if I wanted to. I can use it over like a smartphone or over a web interface. But this is a little bit more extending it out, but this is a really good product to use too. I really just use it for the screen, and I really just show it on screen. But I either use this, there's a server for it, then this is the client, or I use, what is the other popular product? I'm blanking at the moment. Ham Radio Deluxe. That's another, if you're using it in front, if your computer's in front, if your radio's right in front of you on the computer you're attached to, that would be another good software too. So remotehams.com for the one that I'm using, and then Ham Radio Deluxe. But I'll throw it back out to the net. Anyone else on cat control for your radios for that Yaesu? Go ahead. All right, I'm just trying to bring up the companion app here for the remote ham, the RC Forbe server, really. I think I've shown this before too. And then, yeah, as you were talking about, you'll get into your, there's different cat radio settings. This is a really good one too, so you can do all sorts of radios, and then yeah, Yaesu, and then I think you said 891. You could select it there, and then the COM port, and then you can set up the different how the audio connections work. And then let me try to bring up Ham Radio Deluxe here. Yeah, while I'm bringing that up, I'll try to just bring up some screenshots of it here. Or actually, so in the software itself, because I'm connected through a different connection, it won't connect, but they have a demo, which is kind of cool. So you can select the demo option, and it'll kind of show you what it looks like and how it'll operate. So this is kind of what the Ham Radio Deluxe looks like. This is the rig control option, and there's a bunch of different menus that you can bring up on the left-hand side, I think. And then this has this is kind of an older version. I haven't really updated it. I don't really know. I have good options up here, but they have digital stuff. Gosh, I can't, yeah, in this demo mode it doesn't show really well, but this is a really good cat control software because you can use this for like PSK, QPSK, and kind of some of the more obscure digital modes, things like that. So anyone else on the topic of cat control for Yaesu FT891 or your options or anything like that that you've run into? Go ahead.
Okay, Drone. Well, thanks very much for that little demo. Appreciate it. N0TRP.
Yeah, absolutely, not a problem. Yeah, that Ham Radio Deluxe does cost money, but it is worth it, I believe. And then the other one is free, so you have plenty of options out there. So great question, absolutely. Okay, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. I'll go ahead and take this opportunity to take official check-ins. If you just tuned in, this is Daron, Kilo 1, Delta Bravo Charlie for the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. It's an on-air meeting for amateurs seeking help and Elmers giving their time to help us. Everyone is welcome to join in. If you wish to check in at this time, please do so with your call sign using IT Phonetics, your name, and state if you have any traffic or questions for the net. Please call now.
Kilo 0 Delta India, Quebec.
All right, we had Kilo 0 Delta India, Quebec. John, thank you for checking in.
X-ray Foxtrot, name is Michael, no traffic.
Might have doubled with him. Is Fred still hanging around?
No, I think he left town.
Hey, Fred. You know anybody that does any service work on any radios anymore?
Changing oil and filter?
No, just about.
No, to tell you the truth, really don't. K0TOR has done, I believe, some in the past. I'm just trying to remember. He might have some suggestions. Jim, he's usually net control on Sunday nights.
Okay, well, thanks for the info. I'll check into that net and see if I can't get somebody. There used to be a guy who used, back in the 90s was pretty good at that, but I haven't heard him for years. Okay, well, thanks, man. Back to net, K0DIQ.
What kind of a repair are you looking at, AA0JK?
Oh, just clean the pots and switches and so on, you know.
Just regular use should take care of that. Oh, okay. What vintage radio are you playing with?
Oh, it's the old Fox Tango 101.
Oh, boy. Fun. Yes, indeed. Is it acting up but just not responding with some of the controls?
Oh, no, it's just, you know, I haven't used it for a long time, and it's, you know, getting kind of scratchy when you change the band and volume control and, you know, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. I just put it on the bench and use it and exercise those particular controls first before I go delving into trying to do anything more with it. Also, there's that aerosol contact cleaner that might be of benefit if exercising those switches a few times doesn't clear it up. AA0JK.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a little too old to work on the radios. I used to do that a long time ago, but now I'm getting to the point where the Alzheimer's is kicking in, man, and my hands are like shaking a lot, you know. So I don't want to really take it apart. It's a chore, really, you know. Well, thanks for the info, Fred. Back to the net, K0DIQ.
W0TX repeater.
Okay, yeah. Keep the tubes warm in that little unit, and keep us posted. AA0JK, back to net control.
All right, sounds good there, DIQ with the Yaesu FT101. Yeah, just have to try and look out for that and see how you can get that worked out. Yeah, as far as that double, there was a double call sign ending in X-ray Foxtrot. I think it was Michael. Come back with your call sign once more, sorry.
Yes, this is Alpha Charlie 0 X-ray Foxtrot. And I'm just in Denver for tonight. I normally live in Austin.
All right, perfect. Just wanted to check that there. Alpha Charlie 0 Echo Foxtrot. Thank you for checking in, John. Glad to hear you.
Well, that was Alpha Charlie 0 X-ray Foxtrot. His name is Michael.
All right, X-ray Foxtrot. Sorry about that. Alpha Charlie 0 X-ray Foxtrot. Michael, got you that time.
Yep, you got it. Thanks.
This is W0 Fox Charlie with a comment about the FT101 repair.
Yeah, Fox Charlie. Jerry, go ahead.
Was just looking on the net, and there's a guy that repairs nothing but FT101. He lives in Rockville, Maryland, right outside Washington. And you can just look up on Google FT101 repair, and you can get his name and information on it. He's been doing this for years. So if you want somebody to repair it or clean it up or whatever, I recommend you email them or talk to them. W0FFC, bye.
Yeah, I caught part of that, but I'd rather have it local, man. Washington State's a long way.
All right, FFC there, thanks there. Yeah, it was a little bit broken up. I heard you say you can Google FT101 repair. I thought you had said Washington, but is it just the FT101repair.com website, or do you have a website or a call sign on that? Go ahead, sorry.
He's just outside of Washington, D.C. is what I said. So, so it's, you know, like I said, it's nice to be able to have somebody who has the parts on hand and can repair it and knows what he's been doing and doing it for years. W0 Fox Charlie, bye.
Okay. I gotcha. So I'm looking at the same person here. It looks like Al Rabasa, November Whiskey 2 Mike. And it looks like he's in Rockville, Maryland. Yeah, absolutely. FT101repair.com. Yep, it just kind of depends on your wants and needs. If you're willing to part and ship it, shipping costs definitely are part of that and whatnot. But yeah, you kind of just have to use what resources are available. So yeah, I would definitely scour the nets locally, and you should be able to hopefully find somebody. Hopefully, be able to find somebody that might be able to do a little bit of repair on that. So great questions there, DOQ and FFC for the follow up.
SUM comment.
Yeah, KE0 SUM. Jonathan, go ahead.
The gentleman looking for a local guy or a local thing, I don't think Mark, he's a friend of mine now. He does live in Wiggins, Colorado, so you have to drive out I-76 a bit, but he fixes lots of radios, and he's really good at it. And I don't think I think a lot of people refer him. His call is Whiskey 7 India Sierra W6IWI. His name's Mark. If you look him up on QRZ, just shoot him an email. He's really good. I'd highly recommend him, and I don't think he'd be mad at me about mentioning his call sign if you just use an email. I'll talk to him again probably later tonight. But he's local and very, very good. KE0SUM, back to net.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan. KE0SUM W7ISS might be a good local contact for repairing equipment. Looking at his QRZ, definitely is hands-on and definitely can take care of things, it looks like. So has some mechanical engineering and electrical engineering hobbies here. So yeah, a lot of things. So W7ISS, good shout out there.
Question?
Yeah, KF0CUC. Andrew, go ahead.
So, looking at power levels on the handheld radios, it was just recently I learned that I could be on the low power mode and reach the repeater all the way from my house, so I've cranked down to that. I'm curious what the benefit is of having a 10 or 20 watt radio for mobile use if a 5 watt HT to low power at that can reach the repeaters. You know, what's the benefit to that? Back to net.
Great question there, absolutely. What really are the use cases and benefits of it? I know that it plays out when you have a digital hotspot, but those are very new advent and really weren't around when these HTs were initially created. So those the DMR hotspots that we talk about that we can set up in our homes, those you would specifically would want to set low power. As far as I'm guessing it's probably really just the difference between like FRS and GMRS and any other unlicensed. I mean, just the higher license, the higher baseline of power output potentially that can be done on any piece of equipment. So maybe just because of the licensing, that's just kind of what the legal limit allows. Maybe back when there wasn't a lot of repeater coverage, maybe that was a bigger use. Maybe even now, still it's still a good use depending on your use cases. We've talked about using like a dual band repeat between a mobile repeater in your car and then an HT when you're hiking. So. As far as the benefits, if you don't need it, I mean, if anybody has any other input on that, why would an HT need such high output if it's really not even a requirement to hit the repeaters? Please call now.
W0TX Repeater.
W6IWI.
I think there was a double in there, but I did get IWI, K6IWI. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's W6IWI. And got a teletype starting up in the background here. The thing is that you're not always in a good spot. So having the higher power available, especially mobile, is useful. If you can run low power, especially handheld, and still get where you need to go, that's great for battery life and so on. But in general, higher power works in more places. It's W6IWI.
Simplex use? W0N comment?
Good information there, IWI. Yeah, absolutely. Depending on where you're at, you may need it. So, and yeah, the lower power definitely saves on battery. And like you were saying there, Fred, simplex as well. When you're not in an area, I mean, we're blessed with the Rocky Mountains, and those repeaters give us amazing coverage. But more flatlands you'd see a lot less repeater coverage. There was a call in there, November Whiskey. I thought it began with. Go ahead with your call sign once more.
Was that Harold?
Was that Harold? Once more, I thought there was a comment there from just after Fred, like a November call sign. If you want to, or if anybody else has a comment on that, and if you had just called on it, go ahead.
Yeah, WG0N.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. WG0N Dave, go ahead.
Okay. I like the answer. It depends where you are. If you're going to stay in the Denver area, sure, an HT, even at 1 watt or half a watt, will work on some of the really good repeaters. But if you're going to be driving out Sterling Way on I-76, you're going to be able to carry Denver repeaters like the Squaw systems all the way beyond Sterling a ways if you have some power and a decent antenna. When I go out that way or traveling to Illinois where I have a sister, I usually screw off a little B10 antenna and screw on a tall whip dual band, and I get 3 dB gain. So when I'm running an ICOM at 50 watts of power out there, I'm actually running 100 watts effective radiated power, and I can hold conversation on many Denver repeaters over 100, 120 miles. So that's something to think about. Also in the mountains, in the canyons, on the other side of Berthoud Pass, you're going to need all the power you can get to get back in the area or get to some of the repeaters on the western slope because of the mountains and the valleys and the bounce reflections and all that stuff. So sometimes power is really useful, especially if you want to be set to go for emergency operations with Aries groups or something like that. Never hurts to have a little bit of power and drop it down if you don't need it.
Perfect. Thanks there, WG0N Dave, for the follow-up on there. Yep, location depends on it, and yeah, the real world ramifications of RF propagation. It's hard to see, but you throw more power at it, and you can hit a repeater and etc. Things like that. So yeah, great input there. Very, very cool. All right, CUC or anyone else on that? Go ahead. Yeah, KF0 CUC, Andrew, go ahead.
I think that about covers it for me. I really appreciate the input. I was still I guess I'm still amazed that I could hit a repeater 30 miles away from my house, from inside the house on half a watt. So it's quite amazing what this technology can do. Anyway, KF0 CUC, back to net clear.
Hey, Daron, WG0N.
Yeah, WG0N Dave, go ahead.
I remember some years ago, little anecdotal story. I was on, I think it was 3494 off Squaw Mountain, and a guy, mobile, out of Texas came on, and he was out east a ways, and he was somewhere around 80 miles out, and he was just blown away that he could talk 80 miles from his car to the repeater. And I explained it to him a little bit, and his comment was, I sure wish I could buy one of them mountains.
Absolutely, very cool. Yep. Thank you for that, Dave.
W6IWI.
Yeah, real quick, we've spoken about simplex getting out of state. So you'd be surprised about the propagation that occurs. Yeah, IWI, W6IWI, go ahead.
Yeah, there was mention of mobile antennas back there, and I've had amazingly good luck with a dual band through glass antenna, so I didn't have to drill a hole in the car, and so it covers 2 meters and 450 megahertz. And then also on HF, I'm using the free magnet MFJ mount to hold the ham stick on the roof. So that's mobile antennas without destroying the car. It's W6IWI.
Yeah, absolutely. Great information there. The through glass antenna and wiring systems, as well as the mag mount systems. Yeah, you don't need to drill a hole through your car if you do not want to. You definitely can preserve that, and you can still get really good reception and coverage and transmission. Absolutely. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. We've gone through this net pretty quick. It's around 8:20, but we've got plenty of time here still. Normally around 8:30 we end, but not a hard stop. But I'll ask any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for the net. Please call now.
So W6IWI one more time.
No problem. IWI, go ahead.
Yeah, the latest newsletter mentioned my website, W6IWI.org, and I've got a bunch of stuff there on radio teletype and the mobile antennas and transceivers, reverse beacon network, maximum usable frequency, etc. So anything I can think of, I've added there. So anybody have comments on that, I'd be glad to hear them. Back to net, W6IWI.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, the club is about helping each other and promoting each other. So yeah, in the recent roundtable newsletter from February, you can find it PDF format on W0TX.org. Looks like on page 6 here. There's a mention of his website and all of the different things there. So the RTTY, powerline noise, reverse beacon network, maximum usable frequency. So yeah, we were talking about his teletype last week, and hearing that in the background, looking at that, and plenty of really cool photos and really cool things to look at. So yeah, W6IWI.org. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up there, Harold.
Thank you.
Yeah, if anybody has any photos or things that they want to share and you don't really have a good place to do it, you can always do it on our groups.io ham learning net. You can email them to W0TX at W0TX.org. You can post them up on our YouTube, comment them on there. If you want to post your ham shack, any information, don't ever hesitate to. I mean, if you have a website you're running and you want us to look over it, yeah, don't ever hesitate to do that. Absolutely. With that, I guess I'll throw it back out to the net. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up for the net, please call now. On that as well, you can also, if you look up on our website, you can find my email address, and feel free to email me, and if you do, I will try to bring it up here. Dave, WG0N, had emailed. He'd be more than happy to help anybody programming their radios. We've definitely discussed that a lot here recently as new people come into the hobby and how to program it. So WG0N Dave, a DRC board member, you can find his info on there. His call sign at arrl.net, WG0N at arrl.net, and let him know if you have any other comments or anything in regards to programming your radios. He'd be able to help you out. It looks like he has Yaesu, Ken Woods, and he's using RT Systems and the Titera system software that comes with it. Okay, I can try to bring up a few things here, and then I'll throw it back out to the net here in a couple minutes, and then we'll probably start to wrap things up here. Over on the website hackaday.com, blog post entitled Sirius XM Satellite Failure, a reminder that space is risky, and that satellite insurance is a thing. So on December 2020, SpaceX Falcon 9 helped to launch a Sirius XM satellite in its geostationary orbit, approximately 35,000 kilometers or 22,000 miles above the planet. It was their new SXM-7 broadcasting, and if you haven't heard of Sirius, they just do I guess they're kind of the alternative to digital radio in the commercial broadcasting world, I guess. This is a Colorado-based aerospace company that helped launch this. Maxar Technologies, the prime contractor, says they're currently trying to determine what went wrong with the 7,000-kilogram satellites. They were focused on safely completing the commissioning of the satellite and optimizing its performance. But the language used by Sirius on their January 27th filing with the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, it was notably more pessimistic. Let me drop here for a moment. Not too much concrete information here. I don't know why they had stated that they had the pessimistic wording here, but the filing isn't too long, so I'm sure that there's they stated during in-orbit testing, the s.t.e.m 7 events occurred which have caused failures of their payloads. So it's a aggregate coverage of an insurance policy and is $225 million. So it's basically dead on arrival. They've launched a satellite, very costly, and it's a covered loss, but a loss nonetheless. So that's why it's very costly, and you really need to know what you're doing before putting things into space, and really thousands checking, etc. All right, over on reddit.com /r/amateur radio, there was a winter field day report, and that actually took place, I guess it would, on the date that they had posted this, the 31st, I think, the 30th and the 31st. Let me try to bring this up. Yeah, January 30 and 31st, winterfieldday.com, more info on that. It's more of a Aries and Races, RACES organizations. This person, though, really has a really cool setup here and kind of took it to an extreme. He's in let me see, was a fire station or fire outlook here. Let me try to bring up the. So his antenna was the NFED's trail-friendly 10, 20, 40 meters QTH atop a local mountain, Mount Wire near Salt Lake City, Utah. Attached the feed point of the antenna to the top of the fire lookout tower and sloped the antenna down to a stake. SWR was 1:1.1 on 20 meters. Tons of stations, reports, a few QSOs using 10 watts. Made a couple local VHF contacts. Very, very windy. Let's see, I think he had taken a video here, but let me bring up the photo here too. So yeah, looking at a video of looks like a panoramic 360 shot of the fire lookout tower that he was able to use, and pointing out this antenna up there. So really, really cool. It's kind of a romantic thing to be able to do that just out in the middle of nowhere, and just it's just really, really cool. So more info on that, reddit.com /r/amateur radio. And it looks like for the radios, it is an Elecraft KX2. Really nice looking setup in a Yaesu FT 2D, it looks like there.
W0TX repeater.
Back over on hackaday.com, as mentioned in the past, they have a podcast that's put on by their senior editor and I forgot the title of the other person, but Mike Sizik, or I forget how he pronounces his name, but they have a lot of cool podcasts. So you can find them on there weekly. They talk about this week's was the let's see. Antennas for Everyone, A Clock Made of Chains, Magic Eye Tubes, and a little Google bashing. So they talked about Google Loons, Internet Balloons coming back. They talked about Chromium on Linux, what makes a good antenna, wireless modules, vacuum tubes. They're talking about the Magic Eye vacuum tube. Let's see here. Looks like they're talking about this type of vacuum tube. When viewed from the top, you see a visual indication that rotates around a central point. The outer ring glowing while the inner is dark, like an iris and pupil. These tubes date back to the RCA 6E5 in 1935. Test equipment that used needles was expensive to make, so there was always a push to replace them with something cheaper. So they kind of go into this as well as a few other things. So if you have any interest in electronics, kind of what we're talking about here, I would recommend looking at listening to the Hack a Day podcast, because it's just nice dulcet voices and just talking about the things we like. I guess one last thing here that I have, at least. I have not really mentioned it in the past, but well, it's not me doing any of the work, but I have an interest, obviously, in all this kind of stuff, but an interest in reverse engineering of I guess game consoles and whatnot, and being able to kind of play around with that. So somebody's playing around with the IPv6 stack within the PS4 in order to reverse engineer the PS4 to get some pretty good results. So over on twitch.tv /Day0SEC, DAY0SEC. He's a 24-year-old computer science engineer, and he's just kind of rocking through this community-driven project, and kind of just trying to brute force and reverse engineer real world retail equipment and things like that. So if you have any interest in reverse engineering, computer science, this would be something to check out. I guess I'll throw it back out to the net. I might have a couple more things, but anyone else have any other comments, questions? There'll be a couple more opportunities to check in, but if anyone wants to check in or any other traffic at the moment, please call now. All right, real quickly here, over on the rtl-sdr.com blog, post entitled RF Power Snitch, a power measurement companion for protecting RF equipment. It's a tool used to quickly measure RF input power to determine if input power from a signal source is too strong and could damage measurement equipment, such as a software-defined radio or nano VNA. So this is the company's NIC, and they just have come out with this RF power discovery tool. So more info on that on their website. It looks like powersnitch.nicstick.nl. Another story I was looking at here, we'd spoken about, there's a product that you can buy. It's a four-phased or four-channel coherent array that's used for radio direction finding for just a few $100s. But this PhD student at the Aalto University of Electrical Engineering, Lakso Miko, PhD student, his group's paper involving a 21-channel phased coherent software-defined radio system. So he used a massive multi-channel receiver array from software-defined radios to use in low-budget research. He's done a paper on IEEE. So they introduced a modular and affordable coherent multi-channel SDR receiver and demonstrate its performance for direction of arrival estimation on signals. So again, direction of arrival is use of multiple antennas to, I guess, triangulate really, but on a more powerful scale really. A 7x3 element uniform rectangular array antenna. So really cool information there as well.
W6IWI?
Yeah, IWI, go ahead.
Yeah, those things were interesting to me. I have not played with one, but I think that it would be interesting to use one in trying to find power line noise, to use a VHF or UHF AM receiver in that radio direction finding. Wonder if anybody has any experience with those antennas.
Yeah, great question there. Yeah, not too much I know about that. I know the previous one was this Kerbos SDR. It's a 4-channel coherent you can buy for about $300. And they've been using these to, I think they were using it to find like some of the signal stations in Russia, things like that, and some pretty interesting things. But I haven't really heard about in terms of power line, noise line, things like that. But yeah, good input there.
Yeah, I've got the MFJ power line noise receiver, which is like 110 megahertz AM receiver with a Yagi antenna. And as I swing it around, I see noise coming from everywhere, so it hasn't proved super useful in that respect. I did work with XL, and they were using a 300 megahertz receiver with Yagi and also an ultrasonic detector, and they did track down the noise. But any way to make that easier is always good. Back to net, W6IWI.
Absolutely. With the right knowledge and the right tools, you definitely can track down a lot of things nowadays, and there's a lot more information available to us than ever now. So tracking down noise interference and things like that, and yeah, I mean the electric companies. Yeah, who knows with the power lines and I mean with power monitoring, they do some remote power monitoring and things like that. So yeah, you kind of have to prove as much as you can and use as much tools as you can. So yeah, very, very cool tools here. A lot of really cool things here. So I think with that, I'll probably throw it back out to that for any final check-ins, calls, comments, questions, anything else for the net. Please call now.
DOK.
Yeah, WD6 DOK. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. Did they use this equipment to find the woodpecker? I believe it was classified or said it was something out of Russia. Anybody know anything about that? This was years ago. I guess I'm dating myself now. But anyway, there used to be a loud noise out on 20 meters, and as I can remember anyway, and hams had tagged it the woodpecker, and there was rumors at the time that it was coming from Russia, but that's about all I know.
Looking up photos of this, yeah, that does look familiar here now. You know, I don't know on that one specifically. I can't remember. I'd have to bring up the story specifically about what these had found. But this was just in the last couple of years, really, within the last year or two, maybe. But yeah, I'm not sure on that. But yeah, I think there was some number station. I can't remember exactly which one, though.
W0TX repeater.
And that's gone away, hasn't it, Drone? I believe I haven't heard it anyway in a number of years.
Gotcha. You know, I don't know specifically, or if there's any remaining number stations. Here was the one that I was thinking about. This was the original Kiwi SDR, but I can't remember what they had found. But or they were looking at some maybe over the horizons radar from Cyprus. I can't remember, but yeah, there might be some number stations left. I don't know though. Good question though.
As I remember, it was can't think now, but anyway, yeah, it was Russian, and it was classified as some sort of not satellite, but anyway. But again, I haven't heard it in years. I'm just kind of curious when I saw all this. I thought maybe that kind of brought back a memory on it. Anyway, thank you. This is Whiskey Delta 6 Delta Oscar Kilo. Back to now.
W6IWI.
Yeah, W6IWI, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the woodpecker thing he was talking about was probably a over-the-horizon radar, and I think that there is still that stuff in operation now. I mostly see it as a really wide-band sweep on HF, right below 40 meters. W6IWI back to net.
So you still are you're hearing it on 40 meters now then?
Just below 40 meters, and it's, if I have my receiver there, I just hear it sweeping through. If I look on a SDR at the waterfall, you can see the sweep there.
Is it fairly wide?
Very wide, several hundred kilohertz.
It was very annoying. This is back in the 70s as I remember it.
Yeah, I've just seen it recently. Every now and then it's interesting, these strange signals show up on the web SDRs. So, and I believe that it was over the horizon radar. Back to net, W6IWI.
That's what I was trying to say. Oh, yeah, over the horizon. Anyway, radar. All right, thank you very much. Back to net, WD60, okay.
Perfect, sounds good. Yeah, there's a lot of things out there, and I forget who does it, but there's, I think it's maybe IRU or something like that. They do some reports and monitoring of like pirate signals and things like that. So it's quite amazing what actually is still what's occurring out there and what's still occurring from 60s, 70s, and Cold War and things like that. So yeah, great information there. So anyone else? I think we might start to wrap things up here, but any other last comments, questions, check-ins for the net, please call now.
W6IWI once again.
Yeah, IWI, go ahead.
Yeah, I just looked up, there's a wiki called sigidwiki.com, and it shows all these signals on HF and identifies what they are, including the over-the-horizon radar. So that's sigidwiki.com. W6IWI back to net.
Yeah, that's a great another resource. We've spoken about in the past, SIG-ID Wiki, signal, which is short for signal identification. So sigidwiki.com. And yeah, if you do a search for OTH over the horizon, you'll kind of get some good waterfall samples and audio examples of some of the Russian over the horizon radars, things like that. So yeah, great resource there as well. Okay, with that, this is K1DBC Net Control. I will start to wrap things up here. More info on our club, W0TX at W0TX.org. Our next meeting is going to be February the 17th. Introduction to Digital Modes, presented by Bill, W0TX. He's going to give us an overview of current digital modes, software, hardware, operating techniques, FT8, things like that, Meteor Scanner, MSK144, new modes. He'll be doing a demonstration. He's been operating digital modes since 2010 and has over 10,000 contacts. Worked 50 states and all 50 states and over 150 countries. So join us online, W0TX.org for more info. It's going to be a Google Meet at 6 p.m. So that takes place at 7 p.m. An hour before that, at 6 p.m., we have a Elmers session, very similar to this, general Q&A, show and tell. So all online, feel free to join us. This is K1DBC. If you wish to contact the Learning Net with topic suggestions or to set a date to act as net control operator or guest Elmer, you may do so at any time via email at drclearningnet@gmail.com. Feel free to join us on our mailing list, groups.io/g/ham learning net, or you can view our nets live or our meetings live or in the past online, youtube.com/WEREGR8, or you can search for W0TX DRC and you should be able to find it as well. This evening we had a total of 21 check-ins. Very good count. A lot of new voices. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you all checking in. Definitely appreciate everyone who participated, and especially appreciate our Elmers, the Denver Radio Club, for allowing us to use the repeaters for this net. We invite you to join us on the third Wednesday of the month, 6 p.m. for an Elmer session prior to the Denver Radio Club meeting at 7 p.m. Again, February the 17th, that's going to take place next. Everyone is welcome to that. Please join us next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., 1930 hours for the next Learning Net. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into normal mode.
PL on.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control, 7-3 to all. Glad to hear everyone in the air. Hopefully everyone's doing well, and we'll see you all next week. 7-3, I'm clear. All right, thanks everyone for continuing to join here on the YouTube. Feel free to chat if you want. If not, that's not a problem. But we'll continue to put these out, and we'll go from there. All right, everyone, take care.